This is the story how I went from 0 to 7 figures as an online entrepreneur at my 20s, and I hope that you find this story inspiring. I haven't shared it yet on my YouTube channel in English, so here it comes. So I was actually born in northern part of Finland, which is in Northern Europe, and I was raised by a single mother, and so I lived with my sister and mom. And my first 20 years of life, I lived in this smaller city in Finland in the northern parts. I already knew from really young age that I want to succeed in life. Like I didn't even know what success meant, but I really think that it meant for me like career. Like I was really career focused. I thought about it a lot, like what I want to do when I grow up, and I wanted to become this businesswoman, but I also had these dreams of becoming a pop singer or like something like that at some point. But yeah, so I knew, like I remember this moment when I asked from my mother that does everyone want to become successful when they grow up? And I remember my mother answering me like, yes, but like nobody does, or something like that. Really like pessimistic answer, which was funny because that really, like, I remember that still to this day. When I turned 20 and I had graduated from this high school, I don't know the better word for it in English, but when I had done with my schools, I moved to Helsinki, which is the capital of Finland, and I went there to study business. I am Bachelor of Business Administration. That is my degree that I have. I went there to study, and I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship before that. Like I had heard about it, but I didn't have any like positive or negative thoughts around it. And it's funny because when I moved to Helsinki, I actually applied to some jobs because I wanted to move there and really like skyrocket my career. I really saw that as an opportunity for me to now start with my career. Like before that, I had only had these part-time sales jobs or like worked in these stores or like done some promotion jobs for brands and like really like these basic things that a lot of young people, at least in my country and in my friend group, also did. But I mainly worked with sales because that's the other thing that I was raised by a Finnish single mom, but my father is actually from Democratic of Congo, and my last name was Congolese. Now I'm married, but before my last name was Congolese, and I have my curly hair and my darker skin. So it was actually a little bit hard for me to find a job when I was young. And I think it was hard for like everyone at that point. But the thing was that I found it easier to find a job with sales. So that's why I started to like sales. Like I didn't really love sales, but I just knew that, okay, if I say that I love sales and I just go with the sales jobs, I could get a job. Like there's always jobs for people who do sales, and that's what I did. I did also telemarketing, for example. So when I came to Helsinki, I just wanted to get like this first cool real job, and I got it from this social media company which did social media management, for example, to bigger companies. And I went there and I got the job as a content producer. And that's when I first started to learn about entrepreneurship, because at the same time I went to these courses at my university to learn more things about social media and digital marketing, and I wanted to become better at what I was working on. But at the same time I got to know more about entrepreneurship, because one of those courses actually that I took was that how to become a social media consultant or something like that. And then I learned like, okay, well, you could do this by yourself and like employ yourself and be self-employed. And it was super cool for me because I didn't know anything about that type of opportunities before. And then I also started to learn more about entrepreneurship through my school when I went to these startup events and saw other young people who were entrepreneurs. And that was like the life-changing moment in my career when I learned that, okay, there is this career path that I could take where I could actually build my own business and succeed in that. And it doesn't, like, you don't need to have anyone's approval to grow your business and grow as an entrepreneur. So that's what I found really cool, because I'm so impatient, so I just couldn't wait to get promotions at jobs that I had. Like, I worked also at some other companies, but mainly when I started to study in Helsinki when I was like 20 years old, that was the time when I also started my first business. And I did that like really fast when I learned about entrepreneurship. I just quit the social media job and then started my own social media management company. And that was my first business that I did. And I still remember when I was like in my home, well, actually it was my sister's home, who had also at that point moved away from our mother's home. She's young, a little bit younger than me. And I was laying there and thinking to myself like, okay, here it goes. Like, what should I do? Like, I didn't know what to do. And I didn't have anything to do because I didn't have any clients. And I just remember being there and thinking like, okay, well, what did I do? And then it only took like a few months when I already had several clients. And how I got those clients was that I actually contacted them myself. Like, I just sent a message and asked for a meeting, and then I went to those meetings, and it was so nerve-wracking. Like, I was super nervous because I was like, oh, who am I trying to be? Like, I had this imposter syndrome that it's not just going to be possible that they would pay anything to me to help them. But I was still optimistic and just did it anyways, even though I was super scared. Like, I didn't like it at all to offer my services in those meetings, but I did. And thankfully, I also got clients from those meetings. And I actually think I got like everyone that I had meetings with as my client, because there wasn't really a lot of people offering those type of services at that point in where I was living. So it was cool. And when my first client posted about me and that she's working with me on her social media, somebody else contacted me as well. So that's actually how it started. And it was pretty cool now that I think it back. And one of my clients wanted to go abroad and film her, because she was actually an online coach. Like, I didn't know about online coaching back then, but she wanted to film her online coaching videos. She was a fitness trainer abroad in Thailand. And that was like, wow, like that's so cool, because I had dreamed about traveling and going abroad. And it just wasn't something that we did when I was a child, because like I said, I was raised by a single mom, and she struggled to make a living. It wasn't bad or anything, but we didn't travel. Like, we didn't do luxurious things or like anything like that when I was a child. So that was like a dream come true, and I had made that happen in just a couple of months after being an entrepreneur. And I had like booked this trip. Like, I didn't even book it. I just went there because the client paid the trip for me, of course, and also paid for me to be there. So it was just amazing experience, and that expanded my life and the way that I looked at life, because I realized that, okay, I can do anything. Like, if I can create something like this and make a living out of this, and I can travel the world now doing what I like to do with clients that I like to work with, it was just like mind-blowing for me. And it really made me more confident. I did the hard things and I accomplished these cool things, and it really made me more confident on pursuing all the other dreams later in life. That's what I did. We went to Thailand, and later that year we went to Spain, and also I went to Dubai. That was like the first year in my life when I actually traveled a lot, and it was so nice. I also met my future husband that year, and yeah, so that's where my entrepreneurial journey started. And I studied at the same time, and then I also took some 9 to 5 jobs a year and a half later because I felt like I just need more experience, and I'm glad that I did, because then I learned that, okay, I just don't want to be self-employed, but I also want to build something bigger. I want to build a company. I want to have a team. I want to make global impact, like bigger impact than just me working with my hours to somebody else. When I graduated in 2019, I think, yeah, I graduated in 2019, and I thought that now I just want to start building something bigger. Like I had the business on the side, like the social media thing on the side, and I really like gradually ended that, and then I just was thinking about the next business idea, and it took me almost a year to come up with a new business idea. But when I got the idea, I started to execute right away. Like I started working on it right away, and the idea was to create this female community of ambitious women, and I didn't really have any plans of like how to make money with that. Like that was my idea, just create this community of women, and I did it. It's called Career Girl Community, and I didn't have any plans on how to make money with it. So this business that I currently have started with a passion, with a mission, and it wasn't to make money, but it was actually to make the impact what I wanted to do to these women, to empower them to follow their dreams. Like I had this experience already that I had created this dream job out of my passion through being self-employed and building my first business. So I really wanted to help other women to do that. So when I started thinking that, okay, how I'm going to make money with this idea, and I had already started to building the community, and I had hundreds of people in there, so it was pretty cool to have those women in that community already. Then I decided to create an online course. Like I wanted to do that because every time a new member was asked to join the group, they needed to answer these few simple questions, and I asked them like, what do they need help with? Because I went there to serve, and I actually served them for months for free. And I did these videos and content and everything, like whole website and everything around it. I asked them like, what do they need help with? And then one of the main answers was to get help with creating a business from their passion. So that's what I did. I created this online course, 6-week online course, where I help these women to turn their passion into profitable business. And that was my first online course. And I had such a big goals on selling that online course with like 50,000 euros in the first launch, because I had at that point a friend of mine, an entrepreneur, who made this big launch with her online course, tens of thousands of euros. And I thought that, okay, I can do the same. I have this community, I have these people. But what ended up happening was that I only made like under less than 4,000 euros. And it was a little bit disappointing because I had these big expectations. Like somebody would say that, wow, that's a good launch for a first online course that you've never sold before. And yeah, I think it is. But for me, it was disappointing. I had already put so much money into the new business. I had this big event, which took a lot of money. And like I spent money to this marketing agency to market my online course and to spend money to Facebook ads and everything like that. So I had so many costs already in that business, and I didn't really have that much money coming in. So it was disappointing, definitely, to have that launch fail in my eyes. I also gave this loan to my own company. So I put all of my savings to that company. And the funny thing is that I just like earlier this week, I paid that loan back to myself. But of course, the business is 100% owned by me, so the money has been there and like that. But it's funny because now I've like paid it back to myself, so all good. But like it was only 3,000 euros. And I also took this little bank loan of 4,000 euros in the beginning, so that I could like have the money to all these first expenses that I had. But then it started, like the journey of like figuring out how to build a profitable and massively profitable online business, because it wasn't easy. Like I said, I had the audience, I had the course, and I made even money, but it wasn't enough. I couldn't pay myself salary. One thing that I forgot to mention was that I was actually pregnant at that time, so I needed to also make this decision, because at that time I was working 9-to-5 job in this marketing technology company, and at that point I was a customer success specialist, and it was a nice job. Like, it was really nice. I was the only one working from Finland, and my colleagues were in Sweden, in Norway, so it was really nice job. I got to travel, I got to work with cool and nice people, but I needed to make the decision that, okay, now I have this business idea, and if I should pursue going forward with that, or quit the job, or that I should just wait for my baby to be born and have the maternity leave, be more regular mom. But what I decided was that I want to go full in with my business, and I decided to quit my job right after I gave birth. And I would have probably quit my job like even earlier if I wasn't pregnant, but because I was pregnant, I needed to be more like careful with the financials, because of course we needed the money, we had the baby coming on and so on. I only was on maternity leave for 2 months, which is rare in Finland, because we get offered to being on maternity leave 1 year. That's a good thing, of course. But what we did with my husband was that my husband was taking the leave and was with our baby, and I started working after 2 months of maternity leave. But before that, I had already launched the online course, and I also launched an ebook, a side hustle, which later got published by a big publisher in Finland, and that's also one big accomplishment in my career that I've done, and I'm super proud of it. It can be found as a audiobook and a digital ebook, but the thing was that I still didn't make enough money with my business. Like, even if I had the book, I had sold like hundreds of online courses at that point. Now we are talking about a year after I started the company. I still was figuring out the ways building more profitable business, and because I was making money. The first year, I think, was like 39,000 euros. And it was little bit a loss that was in the company yearly revenue. It was like 2,000 euros loss. And then the next year, it was almost 80,000 euros. So almost 6 figures. But the thing was, I wasn't making enough money to pay myself salary, because I had all these things going on, which took a lot of money. And for example, I had mentor and also these marketing agencies. They were expensive, wasting money to ads that didn't work. And but I don't blame the agencies, definitely not. Like, it was mostly like, now I would do things differently. I would validate the offer and the things that I would be selling before spending any money on ads. I had this one big turning point which shifted the business, and it wasn't the breakthrough to these huge 100k months that my business currently does, but it was the biggest turning point to see the direction where I should take my business at that point. And it was after selling over 1,000 cheap online courses. And what I mean by cheap online courses, they were from 20 euros to 200 euros. In the summer of 2021, so after being in business for 1.5 years, I had this bad moment when my business was at loss over 7,000 euros. And like I said, it was all my money that I had invested in it, and I had also made sales, so it was like everything that came to the business was gone. So at that point, I just ended my mentorship that I had for this mentor to end that cost, and also I just needed to quit everything that I did to that point, because I saw that it wasn't taking the business where I wanted it to go. So what I created was my first premium program, And it was like this training program that I offered to bigger companies which sell products to women. So it was like these retail chains, for example, like clothing stores and these beauty salons. The first client that I got was the biggest retail clothing chain in Finland and even in Nordic countries, like one of the biggest. So I got that client and I was amazed because they were ready to pay me thousands of euros of giving a couple of hour training for their employees. And of course, like I worked so hard to make that training as good as possible, like as good as I could ever possibly do. So I just didn't weren't like, okay, I'm going to get this money and I'm not going to work for it. What was clever from me was to have this niche which was close to career girl community. So I had the authority on training these clients because I had already engaged like thousands of women with my online courses. So I was clever with that. I picked a niche where I had the authority on actually delivering the training there to them, and in that way I could ask a premium price for it. And that was the biggest turning point in my business until that. And in just a couple of months, I turned the 7K loss to a 15K in profit. And that was another moment when I learned that, okay, like, wow, I am able to do amazing things. It boosts my confidence, definitely. That's why I've now dedicated my time to teach others to build these premium offers, because they were life-changing in my own business career. So now I want all of our clients to experience the same thing so that they can have the massively profitable businesses and build wealth out of their businesses. And now fast forward to this day, like last year, I fully dedicated my whole time and the whole business. I ended everything that I did before that. So I had this sales team selling the sales program to those bigger companies, and I also had multiple different projects like a podcast, social media, sponsorships, and stuff like that. And I ended everything in the end of 2021. I just wanted to have the fresh start and see where this premium program would take my business to. That's what I decided, and I joined this coaching program because I already had the idea and the program in my head. Like, I knew that I can help others to create their amazing premium programs, but I just had this one little thing missing, which was how to make sales organically without those ads that I had spent a lot of money. But at that point, I didn't want to waste any more money on ads. I know that they can work if you have the the resources for them. But at that point, I just wanted to learn how to make money without spending money on ads. So I needed to find the right coaching program to teach me the organic sales methods. And I did the investment. It was so big. I paid it in with a payment plan, and I knew that I could pay the first two parts of the payment, but I didn't know how to pay the third part. So it really made me feel like I have to get this right so that I can pay the program. In the first 10 days, I was able to get my full investment back. It was 15,000 euros, and that's what I made in the first 10 days, and it was huge. That was a big turning point for me. I saw that it's possible to make these big amounts of money. And now my camera is saying that the battery is going to die, and I need to do a part 2 of my business stories and the strategies, because I only now told about the stories before I succeeded in creating the business that now makes 100K plus months consistently. So I need to do a part 2, but this was the part 1. So hope you enjoyed and found this really inspiring. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.